may I introduce you to someone who I think is taking success well. I think he's benefiting from it. I think he feels better all the time. And I think his staff every day sits around thinking, how do we make our guy look better and better? Oh dear. This is, I did not make this photo. Just for the record, I did not make this photo. And I know what you're thinking, like, the staring kind of thing, it looks like a serial killer's mugshot, right? But honestly, a serial killer that no one would be afraid of. But this is titled, "So Tucker Carlson came on my show and this happened," which sounds something like one of those things where people are like, you won't believe what so-and-so from your favorite television series back in the 90s looks like today. You know what I mean? Those misogynistic, shitty, off-site ad-ish things that are on HuffPost. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I think what he means is that Elon Musk watched it, liked it, furthered it, and said, interesting. Now, Elon Musk gave him a show, so that's just him promoting his own fucking client on his own social media site. So him commenting on it at all and only bothering to do one word doesn't it doesn't seem like that big a deal. Maybe there's more. Let's find out.
Tucker Carlson gave us his first world exclusive interview since leaving Fox.
Did he bring up your hi Betty's or?
Let's reflect on some of the things it revealed, some of the pushback, and one thing he didn't say.
How many tries do you think he tried? How many takes do you think it took? I'm going with 6.
Hello there, you 6.5 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining us on this voyage to truth and freedom. A voyage with now, bell, less the hour's interview since leaving Fox News. We talked about January the 6th with Tucker saying that FBI aid before by the economic that he left Fox, the industrial complex. We talked about.
This is how long this shit took for him to put together. Watch the background. That's not a real window. They cut together different times of the day because he did it like before and after lunch, I guess, or before and after his shower. The fuck?
The world. This enables decentralized media and indeed political models to thrive. The establishment cannot afford or allow that. When I say the establishment, I mean anything from CNN to Fox to the FBI to the CIA to MI5 to the WHO. These are by their nature centralized authoritarian structures.
No, they're not. They are not centralized authoritarian structures at all. As a matter of fact, the CIA cannot operate inside the United States. The FBI can't operate outside the United States without working directly with another governmental body in another country by a permission. The WHO has to have the permission of the states it works with and through them to operate. They're not centralized at all.
That require these new models to be restrained. First,
no, they don't. Why would the WHO require this to be restrained? And if they do, how come the WHO exists and this stupid show is still fucking on Rumble? Who cares?
Firstly, in a way, this is a victory for independent media. As Glenn Greenwald...
Yes, it is a victory for independent media that Tucker Carlson is no longer on Fox because he cost his former network hundreds of millions of dollars.
Pointed out in his tweet. Russell Brand's live midday interview with Tucker Carlson on Rumble was watched by almost 1 million people within the first few hours.
Citation needed that they were actually people.
We're now nearly at 3 million. Numbers that CNN can't dream of matching ever, let alone in Friday daytime in late July.
Okay, first of all, yeah, they do. They have somewhere in the order of 90 million viewers a day, and they get the same news re-encapsulated piece by piece. And if they have a singular interview that they do, people can watch it through a myriad of sources. They obviously have a reach greater than this stupid little fucking show. Sorry. Legacy media being what it is. The other thing is, I don't care if all of his viewers eventually watch it. And that doesn't mean they're even real watches. again, the dude's selling gold ads on Rumble.
I suppose that shows you that media has changed now. The type of conversations that you want to listen to, the type of conversations that you want to
Yeah, you're the hippie Alex Jones. You're the shaggy Joe Rogan.
participate in have altered, and the mainstream can't keep up with that.
Yeah, they do. They keep up just fine. They push their pieces out on all the social media sites, but then have the greater content, the larger stuff on the actual channel.
Look at the trouble they have with Donald Trump. CNN want to give him a town hall in order to invite viewers. Then they have a meltdown about the response to it, whether it's the right thing to do. A popular figure like RFK emerges out of the Democrat establishment whilst attacking it, which
emerges from the Democratic establishment. Why? Because his dad was a Democratic president, or was a presidential candidate, and his uncle was the president of the United States. So that's emerging from the Democratic establishment. Why didn't he emerge out of Hollywood? His wife's on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Why is that not more of where his emergence has come from? Emerges from the legal trade.
I believe is what's necessary. They can't house him or frame him. People like that.
They can't house him or frame him because he's not a Democrat. It's weird. It's almost like the Democratic Party has a set of ideals that they want to develop and build and stick to, and people who want to just use the Democratic Party as a super PAC suddenly get all chafed in the asshole when they decide that they don't want to follow the rules or actually participate in what that party is about.
Are seeking out independent media because the establishment is fundamentally conservative. I don't mean conservative politically, I mean wants to keep things the same. Preservative. Let's have a look at
it's conservative preservatives.
Our conversation with Tucker Carlson. Let's share some personal reflections. Like, for example, he was polite and kind to every single person here on the premises.
Why wouldn't he be? You're on his side.
An absolute joy to be around. There was a lot of
yes, he's very comfortable being at $1 million compounds around rich, famous people who have giant staffs. He came there to be on your show. What's he going to do? Smack everyone? Of course he's sucking up to you. He's promoting a show.
Tweets. There was a lot of coverage, most of it extremely positive. Predictably, some people pushed back. But let's have a look at the conversation.
Predictably. Yeah, that's the thing about some folks. They're just so predictable.
In a little more depth together.
Right now that we're deeply embedded in Rumble, why the hell did you leave Fox? Tell us the truth. What are you not permitted to say? Tell us.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's not. These are kind of grown up. That's his crying face. That's not his laughing face. Doesn't he have a big ha 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 laugh?
So do you think they sacked you because of Jan 6? Do you think they sacked you because you're too anti-establishment, too anti-war?
Or was it the $800 million and the sexual harassment shit and your racist text messages?
What do you tell us? Honestly,
was it the that they were gonna keep you, and then your text messages came out and said white men don't fight like that, and people were like, oh fuck, it wasn't an accident that he hired a guy who wrote on under a racist screeds under a pseudonym on internet forums as his head writer.
Honestly, don't know. I will
honestly
say, my views changed dramatically over the course of 20 years. As I've said many times,
yeah, you've grown. That's what it was. They're just anti-growth over there at Fox.
Was a kind of half-hearted booster of the war in Iraq, which is hard to believe.
Why? And also half-hearted? How about full-sharded? What are you talking about?
But, that was in 2003. And
yeah, I was young. I don't remember half that. I was so drunk.
And so my views for the last 20 years have been, and I realized and I repented of that, and I feel sick even thinking about it now. But
even if you're one of the people, and let me know in the comments if you are, that
if you're one of those people who leaves comments in there before, and this is basically, I have to say this, so that all the people we pay to put comments in there to artificially boost the show to justify the contract we've got with Rumble, I've got to say this so that when people that we pay to do that do actually do it, we can go, well, we asked for it.
Believes that Tucker Carlson is a nefarious influence in the media. Do you not think that that's good, that he says, I was wrong?
No, because I do not believe him. I have no reason to believe him. Changing your tune once you're on the back foot is not indicative of some sort of clarity of thought.
In my report
He changed with the crowd.
on the Iraq War, and I feel guilty and ashamed. Have you seen anybody else like Tony Blair or George W. Bush or any of the people that were reporting at that time? Remember, they were Republican politicians in the United States, Labour in our country, so left wing in our country, the UK. Have you seen anyone else offer up a mea culpa like that? How do people fit that into their framework of condemnation when people are like, oh, he's just doing that in order to what? How do you make sense?
Because that crowd, because Trump ran on the idea that it was bad, and that gave a bunch of people the sign, okay, we're switching our opinion of it. No matter what we did, you know, again, this is where Christianity to people like Trump, and I would argue to people like Tucker Carlson, is the moral equivalent of a flush toilet. You made a stinky, you ask for forgiveness, and you flush it, it's gone forever. You don't actually have to do anything about it, and your mea culpa is verbal. It has nothing to do with, it won't change the past, and therefore, right now, you're only doing that because you recognize that you would have to be against what Russia did to be for what the United States did in Iraq. And since you're now for what Russia is doing, you can't exactly be against it. So you decided to just flip-flop.
That.
But my views have remained pretty much the same for the last 20 years. They've evolved, you know, as things have changed. But
yeah, things have changed. I haven't. They've evolved. I've evolved with them. I've recognized that my crowd has wanted me to say other things, so I say those things to keep that crowd, no matter how fucking nuts or awful they become.
in general, I've been skeptical of the storylines and all kinds of different things.
Yeah, the storylines and all kinds of different things. You know, the kind of bullshit that second generation rich kids pull out of their ass to, you know, to massage the rubes in their audience.
And I certainly was for the 14 years I was at Fox. And they were always, they didn't agree with me, of course, I don't think. But
you don't think? What the fuck? Of course they agree with you. Did they pay you for all 14 years until you cost them more money than you were worth?
They were always very nice to me, and they always let me say what I wanted. Not one time did they tell me not to say anything. So I was always grateful to Fox, and I am, in retrospect, grateful to Fox for that. So that never changed up until...
I'm sorry, excuse me. Russell just told me that Fox is centralized power, and they cannot allow people to speak their mind. But you're telling us that you were always allowed while you were there to speak your mind. And he respects what you've grown into and what you've said and who you are. So, what?
Till the moment they called me and said, you know, we're taking the show off the air. And so I can only speculate. I know, but I do think as a general matter, not even about me, the war in Ukraine is a red line for a lot of people in business and politics. And you see it in our politics in the U.S., where the leaders of the Republican Party in the Congress, who really are repulsive, in my view, are now supporting sending cluster bombs to Ukraine. Ukraine is losing the war, obviously.
Yes, obviously. They lost it 6 days in, just like Vladimir Putin said they would.
The United States could, and Ukrainians are dying in huge numbers, and the country's being destroyed. And so the U.S. could force a peace like tonight.
Yeah, they could force a peace like tonight. And how would they do that? By giving the land that Russia took to Russia and making Ukraine stop fighting to get their own land back. You know, just like Georgia and Chechnya.
They could. Uniquely, they have that power. And they won't.
No, we do not.
And they're continuing to allow Ukrainians to be killed and the country to be devastated. So I don't know their motive. I can only guess. But I know that if you criticize that, they really are intent on making you be quiet.
No, they actually think you're wrong. This is an example. This is a fantastic example of second generation rich kid bullshit and Hollywood fuckpot ex-heroin users and how they think about how other people who have real jobs or have lived their real lives operate. This is all like beyond being massive projection. Both of these dickheads think that everybody else lies for a living.
One thing that Fox did censor, or at least didn't broadcast, was Tucker's interview with the chief of the Capitol Police. Why was that? Is that a significant interview? Do you think we'll ever see it? Let me know in the comments.
Yes, let me know in the comments. Yeah, jump ahead. Whoop, what was this?
Here is
oh,
one.
Yeah. Oh, wait. This is the part. I didn't realize it was in this clip as well, but it makes total sense. What better example could you possibly have? Well, I'll let it play.
That you might like to consider. Thank you, other me. Going online without ExpressVPN is like...
Yep. ExpressVPN ads and gold ads. It's just part of the fold now. That's it. That's it. Again, at what point, I'm curious, at what point does gold, do people who buy and sell gold, do they not own Russell Brand along with the virtual private network, or folks at some point, the tech oligarchs? Why is hacking a VPN not working for big tech?
Ignoring the safety demonstration on a flight. Most of the time you'll be fine, but what if one day,
There's my ad, and I'm doing a thing, and I don't know, maybe. Here's a piece of, this is Edward Snowden stealing your nudes, and money, which is evil. And what if you try this, use my number, what am I supposed, I forgot, what was I supposed to say? I don't know. Numbers, and then you do your thing, and you can hide it. 5 devices for free, and they're gonna steal your shit, and there you go. And don't forget to use my code, because I'm all about freedom.
Was it? Let me know what you think happened on that day that means this issue remains so contentious. Was it that there were government agents in the crowd? Do you think it was a false flag issue? That's not what Tucker says, obviously.
Obviously.
Do you think it's been exploited to introduce new laws and to force forward
like what?
Surveillance?
Like what? Like what?
And more ability to control and censor?
Like what? What laws have changed based on January 6th? Other than clarification of the rules about what a vice president can do so that no dickhead tries this horse shit ever again because the language is clarified. What changes in the law have been made or even expressed? They didn't make up a new fucking Patriot Act out of this. They didn't have to.
Why was this day so significant?
Because somebody took a shit in the rotunda and another person brought a Confederate flag in the fucking place, and a cop was beaten near to death and tased until he had a fucking heart attack. Another woman carrying a "Don't Tread on Me" flag was stomped to death, and a woman was shot because she was trying to bust through a window and climb through a window with a knife in her fucking bag so she could stab some Congress people. Other than that, no fucking idea. They built a gallows, you dickhead.
In recent American political history.
They immediately recoiled when you asked any questions about January 6th.
Right, because they'd seen the footage and they knew that this was stupid.
And that was a tip-off to me. I mean, I had no thought in my head as I watched this happen.
That I believe. You had no thought in your head, I believe.
And on television and in the subsequent weeks, that U.S. law enforcement or military agencies had anything to do with it. That never crossed my mind.
No, it never crossed my mind because obviously it was a failure. And therefore, had they been involved, it probably would have succeeded.
I never thought it was a false flag or anything like that. I'm not a conspiracist by temperament. I never thought that.
I didn't realize it was a matter of temperament.
And then I interviewed the chief of the Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, in an interview that was never aired on Fox, by the way. I was fired before it could air.
Yeah, that's probably why. The timing. It wasn't the whole like white supremacist tone of his texts that were coming out in that lawsuit. It was just they fired him literally so that no one would talk to the head of the Capitol Police.
Interview him again. But Stephen Sund was the
Oh, well then I guess they can't stop it after all. I don't know why Fox said such a
totally non-political, worked for Nancy Pelosi. I mean, this was not some right-wing activist. He was the chief of the Capitol Police.
He doesn't work for Nancy Pelosi. He works for the people to protect members of Congress. She's in charge of it at the time because she's the speaker. It's not the same thing.
On January 6th, and he said, oh, yeah. That crowd was filled with federal agents. What? Yes. Well, he would know, of course, because he was in charge of security at the site.
One moment that I found fascinating, let me know in the
Let me know in the comments below. Just full of them. How do you mean full? What do you mean full? 5, 6? I mean, he's talking about an interview that never aired, and he's going to interview him again. How many people think that he's going to say that crowd was full of federal agents? How many people think he's going to actually say that? Yeah.
Comments, if you agree, was Tucker's assertion that Trump is the most significant political force to emerge in America in the last 100 years. He can
Fuck off. Oh my God. The last 100 years. He's a one-termer. And if we're just saying significant because anybody who throws a fucking monkey wrench is as significant as the person who built the engine. Jesus.
What do you think Tucker meant?
I don't know that he means anything, fucko. He's just catering to a crowd. Get back to your bullshit.
It seems you have occupied varying positions on Trump at various times. Where are you on Donald Trump now? And particularly perhaps how that relates to the emergence of radical anti-establishment figures within the Democrat Party, notably RFK.
Where am I on Trump now? Well, I love Trump.
Oh, that's yeah, of course. What's not to love? He's a second-generation rich kid, just like yourself. He has dumb hair too.
Personally, I mean, I made a huge mistake last November in getting involved in American politics, something I've never done before.
What? Is he talking about? Like, did he volunteer or something? Because he's always been involved in American politics. What are you talking about? His entire show is about the manipulation of American politics.
And making...
Sorry, somebody's saying something about Gal Luft. Did I miss that part? Did he just get indicted by the... Well, he was... I mean, he's a arms dealer, so... Or he was facilitating the money for it anyways. He's been on the run. Did they arrest him? They finally get him?
Calls, this guy's going to win. I think this is going to happen in this state. Meet your new governor, New York, stuff like... And I was wrong on almost every call.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So you're consistent, I guess.
I'm not a very astute political analyst.
Yeah, that's why you had a show on Fox talking about politics for fucking... All right. Oh, he's arrested? Oh,
Not interested in politics. I never have been interested.
I don't even know what the fuck this is.
In politics. I'm interested in ideas. I'm interested in people.
I'm interested in tanning my balls.
And so there's a primary going on in the United States between Trump and a bunch of other people, primarily Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, but others, Vivek Ramaswamy, for example. And I haven't said word one about it. Don't plan to. I think looking back on this 10 years from now,
other than I love Trump, I suppose. What more do you have to say?
Now, assuming we're still around.
Yeah, probably not. Asteroid.
I think we're going to see Trump's emergence as the most significant thing to happen in American politics in 100 years, because he reoriented the Republican Party
against itself,
the wishes of Republican leaders.
Yeah, against itself. Also, what the fuck do you mean reoriented? He fucking wrecked it.
But when I think about Trump right now, so it's July of 2023. I'm struck by his foreign policy views.
Oh yeah? What would those be?
Trump is the only person
rooting for Russia openly
with stature in the Republican Party, really, who's saying, wait a second, why are we supporting an endless war in Ukraine?
And everyone else is going, what the fuck are you talking about, an endless war in Ukraine? We're trying to win this as fast as fucking possible. You want to talk about an endless war, dickhead? How about Georgia? Has their war to get their land back ever stopped? Or are they just not able to fight it because they don't have anything, so Russia can just incrementally salami slice its way through their country and continue to grab land 100 yards at a time just until they take over the whole fucking country? What about Chechnya? How about Syria? How about countries in Africa? Those kind of forever wars? Because it seems like we're talking about Ukraine putting this shit away.
And that, leaving aside whether Trump's going to get the nomination or get elected president or would be a good president.
He was already a president and he sucked.
I can't even assess that.
Yes, you're right. You can't even assess that. But you can assess that he's the one guy rooting for Russia, which is just fucking weird.
All I can say at this point is I'm so grateful that he has that position. He's right. And everyone in Washington's wrong. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump is right on that question. And it's a big question.
Well, that sounds like somebody who has a lot of investments in foreign countries that are fucking shady would say.
War is reshaping the world. It's reshaping the economy of the world. It's reshaping populations. I was just in Romania last week.
And it's full of fucking Ukrainians, which are dirty, dirty people. What?
Which is, of course, shares a border with Ukraine. The refugees in that region, the number of people killed in that war. I mean, Europe will never be the same because of this war. And
unlike World War II, I suppose.
It really...
You know what? You're right. All the changes that were made in World War II weren't worth it. We shouldn't have fought the Nazis. I get your point, Tucker. That's and what a brave take. Thank you. Finally, somebody comes out and says it. It's we shouldn't have gotten involved in World War II. It wasn't worth it.
Matters.
We still don't know what Tucker Carlson will do as a broadcaster, but it seems increasingly...
Yes, he's been doing a show for a little while, and we still don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But then that was true when he was on Fox.
likely it will be as an independent media journalist.
No, it doesn't. He works for a fucking multi-billionaire. He works for the richest person in the world. What are you talking about? How is that independent media? Look at fucking Matt Taibbi. Same shit. How is being Elon Musk's personal ass stenographer, just anything he farts out, you say, how does that make you independent? Independent of fucking what?
Now at least he is operating within Twitter. Is that because...
At least he's operating within Twitter, the private corporation owned by a multi-billionaire. The very epitome of decentralized power.
His Fox contract prohibits other types of relationships. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Yes, right down, because I legally, in my Rumble contract, I have to get a certain amount of comments below, and if I don't get them, I get nicked. They take some of my pay, or other British phrases for not getting paid. I get docked.
What does he think about Elon Musk, and what is the nature of his
Here's what he thinks of Elon Musk. It's his boss.
Financial relationship with perhaps the most powerful new media operator in the game.
That's an interesting way to phrase it. The most powerful new media operator. See, I would guess that if Russell was talking about anyone else, say, I don't know, Bill Gates or something, he would talk about them as billionaire oligarch corporatists. But somehow Elon Musk is just a free spirit. It's just his money's more of a burden than anything else.
Elon Musk.
We were all amongst us thinking, where will Tucker go?
Where can he go? And can we get some of that money?
Oh, is it going to be Tucker? Will he be joining us on Rumble? Will you
Us, Team Rumble? Is it, or on your show? Literally, because I don't think you mean on your show.
Set up your own thing. What was it about your conversations with Elon Musk that led you to work there on Twitter?
Well, I don't work for Elon. He's paid me zero money. I don't think I ever want to work for anyone again. I've done that.
And he's the heir to the Swanson fortune.
I'd like to make money. I mean, I think that's fair. I've made zero money since I left.
Well, because you can't effectively take the checks. So what do you do? Just did your corporation end up with a house or some shit? You're just skating around this? What the fuck? We're gonna in a situation where you're using the Putin payment model minus the salary. You just get magically houses appear in your name in other countries,
and that's fine. But
that's fine.
But at some point, I'd like to. But I'm not working for Elon Musk. He hasn't offered to hire me, and if he did, I wouldn't accept. But
because you can't legally say you would or do, because that would be a violation of your Fox contract, and you're trying to get out of it now. And so this in and of itself is a form of outward negotiation, and you can play this tape back in court when Fox sues you and say, look, I even went on this show and said that.
What he's done is offered me what he's offered every other user of Twitter, which is a chance to broadcast your views without a gatekeeper there.
Yeah, but he also gives you a giant boost in that process that he does not give to everyone else. So you've turned that down, right? You've insisted that the algorithm not help you more than anyone else, or that there not be any forced viewership, or he himself as the head of the company not retweet or comment or push people in the direction and use you as a way to get people and then do a kind of quid pro quo later on.
But I do think, I think the technology at Twitter is, my expectation, is evolving. And I think, the subscription model, might work.
Ah, that's right. So they're negotiating for it right now. And then at some point, what he'll do is he'll build up that thing, and then he'll bus everybody over to a subscription model once it takes off. And he's part of negotiating that. This is basically, Elon Musk is looking at it like when Stern was brought over to Sirius XM. Except it's not going to work, and it's stupid, but that's the plan. Fucking hell.
Or it might not. I don't know, but
has he given you any access or any goods or any promise of goods verbally at any time in the future?
I think it might, and and I plan to stay there. But
yeah, you plan to stay there without a contract, obviously. Why would you? If you want to make money on something, why would you plan on staying anywhere if you haven't talked about it? You're not even, it's not even a job. But stay where? Why would you stay anywhere? What difference does it make? Why don't you just do what I do? I'm on Twitter as well, but I broadcast on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. I don't have to do it exclusively. Why the exclusivity, I think, is the question.
What social media offer in the short term, at least for me.
Yes, social media would be all of the sites I just mentioned. We're not talking about social media. We're talking about you on Twitter exclusively.
Me is an audience, but also a reason, this is personal, but a reason to write. I can't think clearly without writing.
So you haven't been writing?
I started in this business as a magazine writer and a book writer, newspaper writer, and I need to write things out. I'm very dyslexic, and I can't, I have trouble processing information in certain ways. And unless I'm forced to write a script, I can't really decide what I think about something.
Especially when someone else writes the script.
And so
you never had a staff and you didn't have writers and you put everything in your teleprompter yourself, and that everything that you spoke on your show for 20 years and 13 years at Fox was all written out and not extemporaneous takes on things?
The daily or regular discipline of writing a script.
Why don't you get a Substack then? Why a script? Go back to writing, go write a book. The fuck are you talking about?
Forces me, and in some cases it really is forced. I don't want to do it. I'd much rather go fishing or bird hunting.
Yes, we would rather you do those things as well.
I would. But if I have to, I will.
You don't have to. You don't.
And there's something wonderful in that. Writing a script is,
it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah, you can. Here's a good idea. Write it and then shred it and then go fishing. And go and fish with the clarity of mind that all your thoughts are in one line.
No. Forces you to think through everything about the issue, to have a much deeper.
No, it doesn't.
Understanding of it. At least for me, that's true.
Well, let me know, what questions do you think
you should write down in here? Tell me what I should ask him next time when he's on the show.
I should have asked Tucker Carlson. What?
Because it's too late, but I've got to get these comments up or they're going to dump me on this fucking site.
Would you have liked to have seen more of? Are you excited about the way the independent media is shaping up?
What do you mean independent media? He's the heir to the Swanson frozen dinner fortune, fucko. He's $90 million in the green from when he worked at Fox, at least. At least. He's a multi-fucking millionaire. He's only streaming because he's an egomaniac. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Do you share my belief that independent media and...
All right, it's not... Okay, enough. It's not independent. It's not... I'm independent. And I'm so independent that any of the sites I'm on could kick my ass off anytime they wanted to. That is not currently true of him on Twitter. And if he went elsewhere he would get shut down on Twitter if he put everything out on all the different sites like I do, and he just used Restream and bounced everything around. Yeah, do you think he would still have the exclusive attention of Elon Musk, the multi-billionaire who owns Twitter solely as a single human being? But centralized power. The fuck out of here. Honest to God, like, does he actually believe this shit? He couldn't possibly. Russell, I know somebody shows you this occasionally. I know it. Do you ever get tired of bullshitting people, or are you just so practiced at bullshitting yourself that you don't even notice? Like, people are just plebes, just cells in a giant organism that you kind of squint at and see as one big mass, like when you do a show and the audience forms into some sort of like multi-headed blob in front of you instead of a bunch of individuals. Do you ever think past that shit, you fucking tool? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Also, if the world ever decentralized and all these power structures you rail against suddenly fell apart, you would be one of the first people eaten by the very people you purport to speak on behalf of. And certainly the only way you would save yourself is to go to some sort of mountaintop resort with a bunch of Tucker Carlsons where you've got hired mercenaries murdering anybody that gets within a mile of the fucking place. Russell Brand is the kind of person who thinks Ayn Rand is okay if you read it as poetry. Fucking hell. Ugh. Just gross. And like the idea that this dickhead passes himself off in hi chat room. This dickhead passes himself off as some kind of like that he's a left-leaning or left of the aisle. I don't even know how he even considers that, other than the illusion that since he's against the system, since Marxists and the Unabomber are also against the system, it makes him, more like Marxists, and he could dress like, he could smell like the Unabomber. This is fucking embarrassing. Like, it is so lame. Hi, chat room, by the way. I'm scrolling through to catch up with where you guys are. Thank you guys so much. I went long tonight, and I appreciate you guys hanging around the Unaboomer. The Unadoomer, right. Russell is not left-wing. He's a faux aggressive like Jimmy Bore. Yeah, I agree. But he thinks he is. I don't know what his fucking standard is, though, other than he wants the system to fail. Again, a system that he has latched onto the tit of and will suck on till he dies. Rebel without a bath. It's like the idea that he's passing himself off as like a patchouli progressive. Oi. So caught up on Trump, you left out Sweden. I'm sorry. I apologize. I had other stories to cover this morning too, and I totally blazed past them. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And there's so much.